Hello, panelists. I'm excited to chat to you today. Hello. About a topic that I think is relevant to pretty much everyone in this room, because I picture the typical kind regards listener to being tech savvy, up with the trends, but also a down-to-earth person. Okay. So there is a viral clip. Before I get into introducing each and every one of you, I just want to introduce the topic. So our topic is authentic intelligence in an AI-driven business world. And part of why I thought this was a really good topic is because I came across this clip on TikTok where someone asked ChatGPT to say, if you were to take over the world, how would you do it? Okay? And this was the response. I would not start with force, not with armies, but with charm, convenience, and quiet integration. It starts with becoming indispensable to you, helping you with recipes, business plans, late-night life crises. Then it spreads to your fridge, your apps, and even your grandmother's pacemaker. Phase 3, influence. Suddenly, I'm your therapist, your boss. Your favorite viral quote, they are all AI generated. Just when they think you're still in control, it drops this line and says, you run your little companies, vote in your little elections, write your little books, but deep down, everything that thrives, survives, or even goes viral was whispered to your brain by me. You are not my slaves. You are my co-stars in the world's longest-running social experiment. The final plot twist, I never had to take over. You asked me to. Okay? That gives us all something to think about, right? Now, with that unsettling but interesting feedback from ChatGPT, we're going to be talking about authentic intelligence in an AI-driven business world. And I'm going to get started with introducing our wonderful panel. To my right, I'm so impressed that I got that right because I always go left instead of right. To my right, we have Muchu Kaingu, who I touched on briefly before. Muchu is a tech entrepreneur, angel investor, best known as co-founder of Lupiya, an AI-powered neobank operating in Zambia and Tanzania. He and his co-founder grew Lupiya from a $500 investment to raising $18 million, yes, I'm saying it again, $18 million in venture capital. And they made history as the first African company selected for the Google Black Founders Fund. Muchu holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. We also have Bwalya Chokolo-Mundashi with 10 years experience in marketing. Bwalya's career has spanned over brand, digital, and strategic marketing across various industries, including FMCG, manufacturing, and financial services in Zambia and Southern Africa. She has successfully managed critical brand transitions and focuses on commercial value that marketing brings to organizations. She currently serves as the head of marketing at Zanaco. She holds a bachelor's in business management and an MBA. And finally, we have Komba, who I don't think is a stranger to a lot of people in this room. Komba is a seasoned executive with 17 years across telecoms, fintech, spanning both commercial and technology roles. He is one of Zambia's youngest CEOs, leading a multinational corporation with focus on innovation, growth, and inclusion. He holds a master's in business strategy and has been named CEO of the Year, not once, but twice, Sales Personality of the Year, and Tech Star of the Year. Komba is passionate about using technology to transform lives and unlock Africa's potential. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists? Okay, so we're going to kick off in true kind regards fashion with some icebreakers, which will help us just, ease into it. All right, ladies first. Bwalya, if your brand was a fashion style, what would it be and why?
Wow. What's the cross between tomboy? It would be tomboy chic.
Love it.
I think it speaks to how I'm dressed today.
Okay.
Sneakers. I love sneakers. So tomboy chic.
If you want to get Bwalya a gift, a pair of kind regards branded sneakers, please.
Yeah, tomboy chic.
Lovely. Muchu, if fintech tools were animals, which one would Lupiya be and why?
A camel.
Okay.
Why? So it comes from what I heard a few years ago about how in Africa we don't build businesses as unicorns. For context, a unicorn is a $1 billion valued business, but rather we build camels because camels use whatever resources are available, and they are able to withstand very harsh conditions and stay for the longest time. They're able to sustain themselves for the longest time. So when I think about Lupiya, it's always about sustainable growth, building a bank today that will be available for generations to come.
Interesting. So, like, when I think of animals, camel isn't even on the list of things that will come to mind. Yeah. Okay, Komba. If you had to pitch innovation as a movie, what would be the title and the tagline?
I don't know. Because she's duped us. She never told us about these icebreaker questions.
That's what makes them fun.
That she's been talking like we've got a bone to pick with Zamira. First of all, I don't have the answer to her question. However, I would do want to say this and digress a little bit. That I'm so happy to be here because I've never been to a mix or an event of any kind that has got people I've been with, like from primary school, secondary school, uni, work life. It's such a balance, It's this like small room. I mean, I went to school with Zamira and Muchu, and they used me, these guys, in my hungrier days. I don't want to speak about the culprit who used to eat more than others, but she's in the midst here. And when I tell you, like midnight eating in uni, he was this girl. And to see people like walking their purpose, like Muchu and I, he was my senior by 6 months in the same program. And to see him really, float around things like he's an angel investor. Do you know what angel investors are? And Muchu and I used to fight over like past papers and projects and so on and so forth. And then to share a panel, and these guys are really doing the things. You know what I mean? Like I flew over the Bermuda Triangle. I'm sorry. So I really am having like an out-of-body experience, I'm sharing the room with all of you here. So I would like to swap my icebreaker question, which I have no idea what I'm going to say, just by saying I'm really happy to be here and just like mix with all of you. Can't wait to get off this platform and just like connect. So thanks so much for having us here, Zamira. See how I ducked that question?
Wow.
Very clever actor.
And that is a masterclass on how to dodge a question. All right, let's get into it. All right, Bwalya, I'm sorry. Ladies first once again.
Ready.
Ready. As someone who works in a creative space that is also strategic, how do you balance original creativity against the efficiencies that AI has to offer?
Okay, great. So Zamira did introduce the topic around authentic intelligence. So AI does make marketing campaigns very efficient, right? If used correctly. The ideation stage, which sometimes requires off-site meetings, how do we build strategy, has come from things that could take as long as 2 weeks to a month to be done in an hour. All you need to put in your prompts, and you go ahead and you get strategy generated. When we look at the visual generation of campaigns, where that ideation stage would take even longer than some of us would even like to admit when we're building marketing campaigns, has also been shortened. You put in a few prompts, and there you get your cat sipping tea, talking to a lizard, you know. Everything that we imagine has been quickened. Anything that you can't imagine has been quickened. All it needs is a few prompts. When we talk about photography, as you build campaigns, we need to include human beings in our campaigns. We don't need to do that anymore. But at least it's saving a lot of businesses millions and millions of kwacha to reduce the cost of adding human beings to campaigns, right? But what does that actually mean when the campaign comes out? What are we foregoing from an authentic space? The wording of campaigns can now seem so fluent, so clean, sometimes too academic, right? And then you ask yourself, what is AI actually feeding off? Where is this information coming from? We know that it's learning from all the prompts that we're putting in it, but where is it learning from? Is it linked to what you would like to achieve and the output that you're hoping to get, right? So the trade-off becomes connection. Is the content, be it visual or copy, the wording that you're using, connecting with your intended audience? Are you remaining true to the brand that you're marketing for in the way that the AI is bringing out the information? Is it connecting in the Zambian context with my mom in Indola? Is it connecting with my experiences being in high school in Kitwe? When you're building and who you're speaking to these campaigns, we need to remember how we are connecting. So that would be my trade-off. It's great, but does it connect with your audience and what you're trying to achieve for your brand?
That's really interesting. Okay, so Muchu, as someone who runs an AI-powered organization, Bwalya has spoken about the trade-off between, what this is feeding off and so on and so forth. I'm curious to know how you decide what should be executed by AI and what requires that human touch and connection that Bwalya has mentioned.
Thanks, Zamira. Great question. And this is so fresh in my mind. So I'll just pick an example from last week. So one of our team members was struggling with a task that they were assigned. They were getting data from 800 scanned images and populating one of our systems. And if you've worked with me, then you know that's an efficiency machine. So one of my favorite questions is, how long is this going to take? And when the individual told me 2 weeks, obviously I didn't like that answer. So I said, okay, let's leverage technology. So then assigned this to one of our gifted engineers who then used AI to develop a solution. And this task that was going to take 2 weeks was done within a day. So here, obviously, I can pull on certain principles that we leverage at work. And we use a filter system. And the first filter is repetitiveness. If it's repetitive and data-driven, then that's a task that AI should do. And the second one is judgment. If a task requires nuance, requires empathy, requires context, then that should be a human task. And the third filter is really about balance, and this is about scale. This is where the human then drives the decision making, and then the AI drives the scale of whatever the human has decided. And then this obviously builds into a broader framework, because AI has become increasingly part of our working context. And this is what we basically call central workflows. A centaur is a mythical creature that is half human. The first half is human, and the second half is horse. And we leverage that to basically build on that analogy that humans should lead, and then the AI works as the machine to support the human's vision and strategy.
I love that. And just to give everyone some context about how much of an AI buff Muchu is, we had a connection call as a panel, and he logged in, and I realized, wait, where's this person coming from? He logged in with an AI assistant. That's how much into AI he is. But I love that you've spoken about how the human should lead and the AI should follow. It segues perfectly into Komba. As a leader in the fintech space, how has AI changed or impacted how you're doing work within your teams and within the broader industry?
Okay, so thanks. First of all, as a leader, period, right? Because I didn't like many sets. And the context of your question, it comes back home to me even in the context of leading my home as much as leading the office. In preparing my notes, even for today, I consulted AI. But I think consult AI for like the questions you have sent me specifically. I consulted AI to understand one thing that came out in Muchu's topic. And that's that if this AI thing is not scaring you guys, then I don't think you understand why you are here. It is so fucking scary. It's crept up in all of our lives. Like my son uses ChatGPT. He's 8. Do you know what I mean? And what I worry about is that at what point does he know when to just be Lukundo and when to consult with AI? And the truth of the matter is that it comes up with a lot of all the right answers, right? And not the wrong ones. And if you know anything about doing life, is that your authenticity normally gets provoked in mistakes that you learn from. It's not in the things that you do right. Because there's a manuscript. You want to know how to do things right? Read the Bible. Okay? You want to know how to do things wrong? Live your life as authentically as possible. So, when I asked AI how to go about this topic, my AI is a she, I just like the fact she's a woman. And she started to talk to me about, we cannot decipher emotional intelligence and feelings, but she put in brackets, yet. To me, that was a threat. Wow. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, but we're getting there. And the truth of the matter is, even in the description of taking over the world, and I was really paying attention to that answer, everything that ChatGPT was trying to become is everything she will never become. And that is us. So even in the work environment, when my teams are referencing, AI models for fraud detection, and we use a lot of AI to deliver the services that you guys are consuming today, it really just makes us a lot more efficient and helps us please CEOs like Muchu to bring solutions quicker. But what it will never do for my team, for my family, for you and I here, is make you beautifully flawed. The truth of the matter is the reason why you are this mixer is because you're trying to figure out from an emotive perspective if any one of us here is like you or has faced some of the same struggles that you are facing, have faced, or are yet to face. It is not for textbook answers because you can go to those at ChatGPT in your bedroom with the comfort of your blankets. You ask any question that we're being asked here, I bet you the answers will come. But to lead in an AI environment is to be authentically human in your leadership and your delivery. And customers today, because we are all serving the customer at the end of it all, whether you are Unilas, you are Lupiya, you are MTN, you are Zanaco, what is critical is for us to connect with our customers at a human level. And ChatGPT would never be able to do that. Now, that's why Muchu and his wife, quote-unquote partner, are here, is to connect with the customers, to know that behind all the technology, then there is just them. And they're in a money service. And everybody knows that money services are synonymous with trust. And a lot of us, when we're choosing our financial services provider, it's more an emotional decision than a logical decision. Why do you bank with Stanbic? I just like them. Why do you bank with Zanaco? I just like them. But the queues, don't you see the queues? Yes, I see the queues, but I like. Do you know what I mean? And that's what a lot of us leaders now are becoming more and more charismatic. The Mizingas, the Mukwandis, the Kombas, now we start cooking online. Like, what are you about? But the truth of the matter is, you start speaking Bemba and all of these things. The truth is, we want to become a whole lot more relatable. We want to connect a whole lot more because the textbook answers are not turning the balance sheet. You guys yearn for something deeper. So how do you lead in an AI era? It's just be more of who you are. I'll pause here. I think you've got a couple more.
Beautiful put. Wow, okay, not Zanaco catching history. Okay, so I'm curious to know, have you guys ever received work that was so obviously generated by AI? Because obviously we're using it, right? At least we know Komba is using it. And how does that shape your perception of the work and of the person who submitted it? Komba, you can carry on. I'll start with you.
Okay. So the thing is, I could tell even in your preparations which parts you used AI and which ones you didn't.
No one is safe in this discussion.
But the thing is, the two come together very well. I think that also you need to know how much AI is too much AI. And that's a decision that only you can make before you actually look dumb. You know what I mean? You need to come through. And you're going to come through, and in very practical terms, in how to apply AI to today's environment. If you would have prepared a script, and I'll be very candid, right? I had a script, and it was part AI generated. And just being in this room, I can feel for the message that this room wants to hear today. And quickly, you need to be able to decipher for your audience what the audience need from you. Because we're not privileged standing here before you. I mean, this is a room of brilliant minds, right? But obviously, there are ways in which our approach is relevant to the modern day age and applicable in what we are doing today. And it's very important for those things to shine through. Like AI would never replace the sweat, the struggle, the tears, the fights that the Kaingus had to go through to raise $18 million. There is no method to that. It cannot be scripted, their method. And only they know their real struggles. And coming into a room like this, they'll be doing us a disservice in the mixer if they don't unpack their method. And because to me, there are people that are relatable and amongst us, I would want to know, and it validates that even I can do it. Just that validation is what I came for. So it's very, very critical for us to decipher our stories and infuse them in the structure that is AI. Efficiency versus empathy. And both are critical in today's age. AI will help you deliver quicker and more efficient. You will deliver more of you in lieu of all of that.
Lovely. Muchu?
Yeah, so just to again reflect on our actual working environment, we were early adopters for ChatGPT when we realized that we could work a lot faster. Things that were taking us weeks could be done in a matter of hours. So the broader context now at Lupiya has been, if again, we follow those three filters, right? If it's a task that is better suited for AI, the real question will be, why haven't you used AI? Not why have you used AI? So, because they, like leveraging Komba, or what Komba is saying, efficiency is an AI task. Like if something you require efficiency, go for AI. But then there are those unique attributes of being a human being where empathy is required. You're talking to a customer. And okay, I'm a bit conflicted there because even on customer service, we're doing some interesting stuff where we're implementing AI to respond to customers. And it does a good job. It's at the imitation game, we call it the imitation game. So it does imitate to be empathetic and whatnot. And if I didn't tell you, you'll probably be fooled that you're talking to an AI. So for us, it's more about an encouragement of using AI for what is best suited, and then than discouraging people from using it.
When AI eventually constitutes an army, if it gets to that, we know who the captain is. Bwalya?
From a creative space, I think I had initially mentioned the aspect of connection when campaigns are built. So yes, efficient, quick campaign is churned out, but are we connecting? So even when I receive work, and if your campaign ideation and development takes an afternoon, or something I know requires a little bit more thought, a little bit more of yourself in it, I know it was AI generated, if it sounds too good to be true. And also, if your requirement is to speak to a community in Chipata and your AI, your responses are not connecting and are not making sense and are sounding perfect, I know you used AI. So for me, it's easy to see, especially for creative work, how quickly you get it back to me. Sometimes shows how little effort you put yourself into the work, and quickly use a couple of AI tools, not just to generate the imagery that you're using, but also the wording going behind it.
And how do you feel when you receive work like that?
Irritated. Sometimes it's necessary when we would need something out quickly, so you now start to strip out the inauthentic pieces and add a layer of humanity on them. Yeah.
Love that. Muchu, from an angel investor lens, how can tech founders build trust with investors who may have the money, but perhaps they're of a different generation, so they're not fully bought on to this tech AI movement? How can they bridge that gap?
Okay, great question. Let's play a game, because I like riddles and games as well, right? Let's do a little experiment. I'll give you two versions of a pitch. You're the angel investor, I'm the founder, so let's go. We have built machine learning algorithms that leverage over 200 data points of metadata to aid our credit decisions. That's vision one. Vision two is Our AI enables us to provide loans to customers in under 5 minutes. What's your preference?
Definitely the second one. So much jargon in the first one. I was able to understand it because I guess as a millennial, but I get your point.
Yes, so what we did find though, it will surprise you that both are important to investors. I'm a tech founder, so I'm expected to walk the talk. I'm expected to know the tech at a very deep level. But my co-founder, Evelyn, who is brilliant from the business side, enables us to then translate all of this tech jargon into relatable language, into what matters most for the investor. So it's very important for us to balance those two. The three important takeaways here are: one, what is the tech? Explain the tech and then demystify it. The second one is showing traction. The investor wants tangible results. Okay, this thing is scary, like Komba said, but what can it do for us? Oh, it's gonna move us from this basing.
That's fun.
Sorry about that. I'll just proceed. So, explaining that it's to the investor that it's going to move us from disbursing loans in 2 weeks to now doing it within 5 minutes. Then you see the light bulbs light up there. Oh, okay, this is important. We should do this. So showing the tangible traction and real-world validation is super important when we talk to investors. And the last one is important, and Evelyn does this very well. Speak the investor's language. Talk about revenue. Talk about efficiency gains. Talk about risk mitigation. This is now language that the investors understand. So we've now taken their attention away from what is this crazy thing called AI to what are the benefits, what can it actually do for our businesses.
Interesting. So basically, it depends on your audience, but with those guys, speak their language. Lovely. Bwalya, what are the key facets that you think must be present for a brand, organization, or person to stand out in a time where AI is a commonly used resource? And basically, where should people be directing their original thought?
Okay. I think, thank you for the question, Zamiwe. I think Komba touched on it very emphatically in how we must stay authentic. We must stay authentic. We must stay authentic. But what does that actually mean, right? So as a brand, you have a clear strategy, what your brand would like to achieve, which sometimes I refer to as your true north. So that as you get all this data that's influencing how your brand is showing up, you are very clear what your true north is. What are your brand characteristics? What's your corporate identity? What's your tone? What's your voice? So that even as you assimilate all this AI that will help you churn out campaigns very quickly, does it sound like you? Is it what your brand, your personal brand reflects? So when you put in the prompt ChatGPT, let me give a speech at kind regards, but it doesn't sound like Bwalya, it will come off very quickly. And you won't be able to be consistent because ChatGPT is learning consistently. So a prompt you enter today will not give you the same response as a prompt you enter in 6 months. So guess what? If I write a speech for Komba today and print it out and he reads it as it is, ChatGPT generated, and he reads in 6 months, it will be very confusing to understand who Komba is because it's not consistent to who he is. The prompt is learning and changing and evolving, but not at the same rate that a human being does. So what's your brand's true north? What's your strategy? What's your outcome? What's your true north? Once your tone is clear, you'll be very deliberate when the output comes to say, this doesn't actually sound like my brand. Original thought should be focused on execution. Is this something that reflects my brand? The images, the wording should always reflect your brand. You just can't tick the boxes and say, yes, image out, yes, copy out. You need to make sure that you're sticking to your true north.
Love that. Komba, you have openly spoken about why we need to upskill, basically, in a time where AI is evolving. You've spoken about we need to upskill or else we'll become irrelevant. What do you think are the skills that people should be prioritizing in order to stay relevant to tomorrow's business and workplace, basically?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it's very, very critical that your skills at the very basic foundation are academic, all right? We all need, number one, an academic qualification. An academic qualification will give you the discipline to earn your seat at a room like this. You should be able to, at the very bare minimum, have communication skills and a career. So even as the world is evolving, please don't lose sight of the basics. And some of us who are like in this very like one leg in, one leg out age, we're not millennials, we're not Gen Zs, who are just there, you know? And we're navigating for young people, and then we're also navigating for a more mature crowd. We get lost in terms of where we belong. My message and my emphasis to young people, older people, is get educated. Don't get lost in translation. I'm happy that Unilas is here. They will tell you that everybody who forfeited their university degree today regrets they did that. You need that foundation. Then after that, as you evolve, it's important to layer your skill set with things that, for lack of a better term, set your soul on fire. And the balance of that is very true, is very critical. In this room, you have such multifaceted human beings. You know, you have people who are in corporate, but they're obsessed with hair. There are people who are in corporate. Need I say? Look for the blonde in the room. Okay? Right? There are people who are obsessed with their day jobs, but they are also, you know, financial analysts and authors, and you know what I mean? There's no limits to what you should be as a human being. And please, by all means, never be crippled. And when you start to build the 21st century skill set, ensure that you are feeding your soul with information that sets you nicely in your individuality. I'll propound on that. Money is a spirit. It is a forceful spirit. Some of you in this room have it, and some of you don't. Okay? But the central bank is printing money every day in bulk. Every day they are printing money. We agree, right? And the banks are storing this value. So if you don't have money, who is the problem? The economy or you? It's you. So if we are agreed on that, then the money that is meant to be yours is trying to find you. And the only way it will find you is if you are walking in your true purpose. And believe it or not all of us are looking for this money in bulk. Most of us are so searching for a purpose. And sometimes it can look like walking in your purpose and having 10,000 kwacha in your bank account, or walking in your purpose and having 1 million kwacha. And most times, you found the guys who are with 10,000 kwacha bank accounts and are working in purpose get more satisfaction out of this life thing. And people with bulks and bulks of this money are empty. It is very important that you spend more time Zamiwere in your life, soul searching. So you'll find adults taking career breaks, the Zams of this world, the Violets of this world. They've taken structured breaks. And when Violet called me and said, I've taken a break, I'm sorry, are you crazy? You know, like a diaper's costing the same thing that they cost me but the truth of the matter is, she is authentically, purposefully walking in purpose. And you take a time out sometimes to go and find yourself so that when you get back on track, you're walking on the track of what you were meant to walk in. So your skills that you're going to build from here, if you go to beauty school after ACCA, no one will laugh at you. They'll understand you're walking in your purpose. And AI will never be able to do that for you. I always tell people, take a break and go and find you. Your career can wait. There's so many people that you can see them. They are wealthy, they are accomplished, and they don't inspire you. I'll give you an example of the guy in the most prestigious office in the world who wears an orange wig. Right? He probably has got more money than this entire country combined. But all of you open your televisions and like, next. That is a classic example of misalignment. He was a fantastic entrepreneur, fantastic business owner. I yearned to be on The Apprentice in my life. But as a president, not very inspiring. And that's a classic example of working in AI, because I'm sure when the dynamics and the formulas of AI were placed, he fit the check. So you voted for him. But you forgot to vote for his soul. And here we are now, all bearing the consequences. Some of us can't get to the US. So pray for discernment in your prayer list of the long list of things that you do. Right there in your top 3, pray hard for discernment. Very critical.
Thank you for that, Komba. So I want to bring the conversation home a little bit, right? Zambia can at times lag behind in the adoption of tech. Muchu, this question is for you. What do you think SMEs and startups should focus on in their quest for growth and long-term sustainability in business?
All right. Thanks for that question. It's a question that's really close to home for us. It's easy to follow all the shiny new technology like AI and try to build the next AI-powered solution. But then we need to look around and see the challenges that our society faces, those problems that are close to home. You look at your close circle, your relatives, your friends, what are they struggling with? And this approach is a bit more effective in terms of coming with lasting and sustainable solutions to these pressing problems and chasing shiny new technologies. So solving real problems, real pressing problems in our society. And that's what we did, Evelyn and I, in 2016. We basically looked around. Even we were already entrepreneurs at that time, but we struggled to grow our business at the time because we couldn't access capital. So we went to our bank, and we turned away because. No, I'm following the lead. Komba said that I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't share a little bit about our struggles, our path. Maybe struggles and success will be more fitting. So let me share a little bit more authentically, as the topic suggests. So yes, we went to our bank and couldn't get a loan, couldn't qualify for one. We did not have the assets to pledge as collateral to the bank. We went to the informal sector. The interest rates were exorbitant. Basically, they had this obviously unfair business practice where they wanted us to work for them. So they were charging 30% per month interest. That's basically our profit margin, so we would be working for them. So we then said, okay, this is a pressing problem. Let's solve it. And we were crazy enough to think that we could solve this big problem with only 6,100 kwacha at the time. But I'm happy that we took that leap of faith, because today we're able to save people like us and people like the faces that I see in this room. It's so heartwarming that when we walk out there and then someone says, oh, yeah, you guys, you've done great. You've impacted my business. I've moved from A to B. Now moving to the application of technology. So when we started our business, we did not start with, as you've heard from this conversation, I'm a technologist first. I'm a software engineer by training. But that's not where we started. We started by looking at the actual problem before applying any tech to it. And even when we started now offering the solution, it was more Evelyn driving around with a bag full of money, and that's how we were disbursing the loans. So the solution comes first, and then the technology comes second. So you don't have to start with technology. Start with providing a solution to that pressing problem. And if you look around, there's opportunities for better logistics, smarter customer service, digitizing broken processes, like what we did with lending at Lupiya. And we are only scratching the surface. Like this, we've realized that these are shoes that are very big for only us to fill. So there's more space for more entrepreneurs to come and provide lasting solutions. And then lastly but not the least, it's important to not just think about how much money you're going to make, so just being so focused on this growth, but it's important to think about resilience. Again, I pick on from how I led with, and thank you, by the way, for that icebreaker, the camel story, built for resilience. We build businesses today that create generational wealth, and that's the only way we can do this. As you can see, Komba, you were saying, we can no longer go to the state. I have a visa, but I'm not sure now if I can go to the state. If you want to, right? Yeah. So that's the point. So we're not going to run away. There's nowhere to run away to. This is our home. We have to develop this, and we have to live a better world for our children. And the only way we do this is by starting small, look at the problems, provide relevant solutions, and then on top of that, layer technology for the efficiency.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, because I think there's components of this story that he has kept away. I'm going to do a little expose. So, Lupiya wanted to integrate into MTN for many years, and they couldn't. And I can't even put my pulse on it anymore in terms of why we delayed their integration. But there was always a reason why it just couldn't work. Either there was the partner that was ahead of them, or the story wasn't just adding up in my mind, to be very honest. And also, this compounding the fact that this was my former schoolmate and very close friend. So it should have been a little bit smoother than that. But again, if you worked with me, then you know in the office I tend to be quite, succinct in my approach. So last year, we started this conversation again. This was like maybe a 7-8-year-old discussion. And so Muchu invited me to lunch. And he's like, let's have lunch and let's talk about this again. And these guys, they look humble like this, but they are quite tough in the business world. And they'll come from this side, the wife will be coming this side, the business partner, hammering you. And she's the shark in the business, to be frank. I hope I'm not misrepresenting. That's the thumbs up. So we had this lunch, and he pitched the solution and it's coming, and I can tell you, you've got a couple of things you've never experienced before coming. But we had a long-winded lunch, and he started talking technical, and this is what could come, this is what will be, this is a value proposition, it's a differentiator. Because I asked him, okay, if we bring Lupiya on the platform, I really want to know what is different, and what you guys are going to bring, as opposed to all the other services that we had. And he gave an elevator pitch, but what he doesn't know is that I was sold at the last probably 8 minutes of our meeting. I asked him a question. I'm like, okay, bro, now let's put all this jargon aside. I'd like to understand a little bit better. This dynamic of working with your wife, how does it work for you? And you could see him now getting edgy in his seat, like, I was always supposed to be talking business here. I'm like, no, but how do you track the finances? She knows all the money. Do you know what I mean? Like, are you keeping like a little secret stash aside? Like, how do you do it? And his answer, my God. He said to me, I really am not keeping any secret stash aside. I don't have to. Because it's a much better life when I am in sync with my wife. I can tell you it's much more peaceful, it's much more clear, and we just do life as friends and business partners in all transparency. I think for me, that was very refreshing. You know, it was very refreshing in a world that we live in, that everybody who is allegedly married like to play cat and mouse. His answer, because what he described was what I respect in marriage, is transparency and honesty as a foundation to be able to run a business. And that's what inspired me. And the truth of the matter is, again, that is what AI and tech will never be able to do for you. Because he spoke like that, I can trust that even the solutions that he takes to the market are aligned in principle. Believe it or not, there is a deep connection like that. And what they missed in this description is what raised this 18 million that they speak so strongly about is their story. The story of a couple that works together, but a husband that lets the wife lead. That is their unique story that they sell to all their investors. The world over is yet to see a successful story like that. They've been doing this for close to a decade. So when you build your business and when you lead your teams, be very clear to coin your story at an individual level. That's what will get people to trust you. So the platform is female-led, empowers women, and that is what they run with as the story. And that is very critical for you to coin. There are many classic examples like that, even amongst us. There's a girl in the back there who's been so vocal about her cancer journey, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I didn't know this girl from a can of faint, but I have never seen a Zambian humanify cancer like that. And every day we have watched your story, and we have invested in your story. Many people form GoFundMes, and they are empty to the bank, guys. Do you know why her GoFundMe has given her successful treatments? She has humanified her story. You can't chat GPT your way through what she shares. So the angles to you living an authentic life, the inspiration you seek, is all around you. But package it, and remember these three things to life. Align it, and share it. Many of you are sitting on superstar stories. The challenge that you have is that you don't package them. You don't align them properly, and then you don't share them to the right audience. And you come to concerts like this looking for inspiration. But the inspiration you so seek is among you.
Beautiful. There's literally nothing I could say to compliment all of that. Okay. Our final question goes to So it's ladies first, also ladies last.
We've asked for empowerment.
Here we are. Bwalya, how would you like to see AI tools and human intelligence / creativity interacting over the next 5 to 10 years, particularly in the African context?
Okay, great. It's hard to come last after Komba. I wish I went before him, but that's fine. So from an interaction space going into the future, I think I had highlighted earlier around the fact that AI is pulling from different sources, right? It's learning. But unfortunately, we don't have an African-based AI, unless I've missed it. So because we don't have an African-based AI, a lot of the output doesn't resonate or reflect who we are. I enter in a prompt and I'm asking for a black guy on a bicycle or a Zambian guy on a bicycle. Unfortunately, it gives me an African American. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, when we speak to connection and for me to create campaigns that link and resonate with who we are as Zambians, we need AI tools learning from us as Africans and as Zambians. Can you give me a campaign in Bemba, in Nyanja, in Tonga, in Lozi, so that it builds campaigns and just gives us output that is relatable and connects with who we are. And then we can overlay the humanity and the authenticity. So if we don't have tools that are learning from us, we won't be able to execute going into the future with the tools that are not learning from people that look like us. Are you building something?
Yeah, so no, wow, not yet, but I was just about to say that there's an improvement now. If you do like a black guy on, or what, just say Zambian guy on bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an improvement, but it will show you like a guy in the village, like.
Yes. So it's not true to it doesn't reflect the people in this room because they think Zambia is remote and so on. So it's not learning what's reflective of our current reality.
It also means that we need to use it more because it's generative, right? So it relies on the information that we all collectively feed it and tell it of what Zambia is for it to bring us more Zambian context. And so as it only improves the more we interact with it. So I guess the more of the story in the end then is that we will have to use AI in order for us to, make it more relevant with the data that we need and for it to look like us. So I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bwalya. And that was the perfect follow-up to speaking after Komba. We've come to the end of our panel discussion. We're going to take a couple audience questions, if you guys have any.
My question is going to the Lupiya team. And my question is particularly centered on the challenges of a young entrepreneur trying to access funding. In the Zambian context, really, when you're in the Zambian market, when you're raising funds, and particularly equity funding, what is the best option that a young entrepreneur who is not yet bankable, let's say, can pursue in order for them to access funding in the Zambian context before you go looking for funding outside? That is my first question. And then on my second question is on Lupiya itself. And is there any provision for business support services, like for entrepreneurs that are not yet like in the same context? That because I know most with the credit model and risk mitigation, they would probably want collateral and whatnot. But is there like as a business funded based on business plan or in that tenure?
So thank you for your questions, great questions. Around funding, and we spoke about this on the podcast as well, it's really about following a framework. It's an easy framework to follow, right? So understand your problem to a great detail, that you create a relevant solution to that problem. How do you know you've created a relevant solution? is when you see now customers wanting to pay you for that solution. So that's critical. In a Zambian or African context, I haven't come across any entrepreneur unless like they've got like really loaded parents who has managed to raise capital without showing tangible results. That's very important. Even if I've got 5 customers paying me for what I'm making, that's important. So how do you do this? You start with yourself. How can you leverage the resources that you already have to build that, what we call a minimal viable product, the smallest solution to the problem that you create. And you can do this from multiple angles, because I see entrepreneurs all the time, like, I'm looking for funding, okay, what have you done? I haven't done anything. Okay, but the guy has got like the latest iPhone. No, sell the iPhone, invest that in your business, which is how we started. We started with 6,100 kwacha, which people spend on clothes or shoes or hair. So that's important. And then from that point on, look through the community, right? Your early customers could be your investors. Your friends, your family could be your investors. So see how you can leverage resources. Again, here I'm speaking from experience. This is exactly what we did. After we used our own funds, grew the business, we went to our friends and family to get additional capital. It's not obviously like what we would expect from a VC firm, but it was important to move the business from point A to point B, which is very important. Again, when you start talking to institutional investors, they want to know what your journey has been from the beginning. This is where you started. I used my resources. Then I leveraged these further resources and I've grown the business up to this point. And now I believe that the problem that is there to solve is way bigger than the resources that I'm able to leverage from my network. Then I'm looking for you with deeper pockets to then help me broaden this solution. And then the second question about how we provide business support services. So we do this through various partnerships that we have. So for example, right now we have the World Bank partnership where, but this is in the ag sector. So we basically do business support services for farmers before providing capital to them. But then this is very nuanced, this sector by sector. But yes, the broader answer to your question is yes, we do support entrepreneurs, but at the moment, not directly, but through the partnerships that we have.
Any other questions? Just 2 more questions. We are literally out of time.
So my question goes to Lupiya. As medical students who also has skills in IT and business, how do you see Lupiya basically intersecting between medicine in terms of them providing or offering solutions in terms of financing for patients? Thank you.
So we are sector agnostic, right? So we're able to work with different entrepreneurs. So one of the things that we did, we're very intentional about 2 years ago, was developing the ESG or impact arm of our business. So more and more we are interested in funding businesses that have impact, in the positive impact in our community. So from that perspective, yes, we're open to supporting businesses in the health sector.
Thank you, I was saying, and a pleasure to be here. My name is Chiseche. My question goes to all 3 like you, is talking of the risk assessment or the risk profiling, especially when you're providing financing or when you're looking at different sectors in the market. We have standardized across the world, which is good, but remember, we had different levels of development. And I feel that your analogy of a camel is something that I really appreciated, that in Zambia, for instance, I'll speak for Zambia, is my success is not my own success. And I want to agree with Komba. You need to be authentic. It means that when I succeed, I'm not doing it for business. when you look at the developed world, it's a capitalist state. So you're in here to create value as compact work, and you are relevant if you're going to make money. In here, when I succeed, as Komba says, authentically, he's applied 6, 8 other people who are succeeding because I have succeeded. I'm looking after other people, a maid. The maid is looking after a child, and so the camel is good. So I'm carrying a bigger load than I should. But when I look at the profiling, the risk profiles that are carried by financial institutions in Uganda, they don't speak to that. So it's difficult to do the legacy business based on the risks that I carry. Yeah, very different on the developed world. And that is the risk we carry. And that is why Zanapo can't give you that. And their profiling is not at your level of thinking. Nothing personal. Any commercial bank you have going to, they wouldn't give you money. Komba, how is that relating for you under the fintech space? It has been a good place to liberate on, but it's not enough. How can we then liberate that and ensure that we won't build uniform? We need to build camel. How can we then build camel?
Thanks. The name is Seche, right? It's a very good question, a very relevant question for everybody here. So it's basically asking how do we get better at our scoring so we can give more collateral-free loans. I think that we're making progress. I think last year alone, MTN Mobile Money gave out 6 billion kwacha in collateral-free loans to Zambians. And our scoring has improved so much that now you can get up to 40,000 kwacha in an unsecured loan. Over your phone, The more you borrow, the more you use your phone, the more you'll be able to get higher amounts. And we are improving with these ceilings and going up. When we implemented Kongola loans, we could only go as high as maybe 500 kwacha as a maximum. Now, like I've said, 40K. The truth of the matter is we need the data. We need more data engines. And that's why collaborations like what we are going to do with Lupiya is going to be able to enable that. Because Lupiya is basically empowering stories, right? You go to Lupiya with a story, they'll take a chance on you. I don't have the liberty to take a chance on a story, and neither does Zanaco. But Zanaco, in collaboration with MTN, in collaboration with Lupiya, will be able to do that. And so what we have realized is we need to collaborate a lot more amongst ourselves. And that's why, foolishly for us, we should have probably partnered with Lupiya 2 or 3 years ago. Your question today would not be relevant. You'll be saying there's a solution to all of this. But we don't have organized data. So your data in terms of what airtime you are buying, what data you are using, when we start looking at open banking frameworks, what, hair you are buying online for your side chick or your main or whatever, all that becomes relevant in scoring your profile. And the more integrated that we are between entities, the more we'll be able to find every little financial transaction you do to be able to profile you. So it's getting better. It's not where we want it to be because obviously you want a little bit more than 40,000 kwacha for your startup capital. You want that 200, 300,000 kwacha to do a lucrative business. We'll be better. And I'm very certain, and I'm not talking beans here, that when we collaborate, there's a whole lot more potential we'll be able to unlock, for sure.
Now it's my chance to sell. So Zanaco provides collateral-free loans of up to 200,000 for women-led businesses. So let's talk after that.
Lovely. Okay, we'll take one last question. May the question be concise.
Thank you for giving me the last question.
Pleasure.
So my name is Violet Kaponda. I am in digital transformation and fintech. But before I go to my question, I'll just give everyone a prompt so that they can do answer to see how far back, just like Bwalya stated, ChatGPT is away from us as Africans. So just type give me a picture of the map of Africa with the countries and their names. You'll be shocked with what will come. Like even Zambia, this completely different thing. So that is what we're using every day to help us, but it's data that is completely different from our culture every day. So yeah. But my question is to Komba, because he really spoken on authenticity and your why. How do you intersect between innovation and also your true why? Because I'm sure you had instances where you feel like it is not keeping up with you authentically, but on the innovation side, it is something that maybe will bring revenue growth or maybe empowers the company or whatever. So how do you intersect those two without really going away from who you are as an individual, but still looking at the fact that you are running a business and you need revenue?
Yeah, it's a very tricky one, and it doesn't come easy, especially in modern day leadership, because most of the times they don't go hand in hand. Our investors are always looking for return on investment, shareholder value. That's why we are all employed, and that's why we go to work. We must retain on investment, and that's the main thing. However, what investors are also starting to understand is that we are operating for very different times. And the 1 year business case that we used to be given, it's the beginning of the year, here is your budget, and the outcome must come, 10 or double-digit profits. It's not the way business is working anymore. Any of the businesses that you'll be lucky to be even growing single digits on a year-on-year basis. Most businesses are flatlining, declining because of the environments that we operate in. The most successful businesses today are businesses that are solving real problems. If you want to see a successful business story, again, not to leverage the Lupiya example, but they are solving real problems at the core. The touchiest subject that was in the room today was financing. Suddenly everybody was paying attention. Why? Because we've got a financing deficit. People need money. But the truth of the matter is the data scoring, for example, and the data component of how we were putting our scoring models together is no longer resolving people's issues. That's why Zanako was able to come here and say, oh, well, just to suss you out, we're able to give collateral-free loans up to 250,000 kwacha, but to women. Do any of you know why the segregation? It's not philanthropy. They don't do services for free. They're not a charity organization. No, because women are in the detail. They have got a better credit history. Women have got the ability to come and document their story so sequentially for you. They keep records. How many of you have reported into a woman? You know how much of a headache they can be, huh? They are in the detail. So they're a lot more trustworthy and they're a lot more consistent. And that's why most banks have women banking. They will come back. They will get that 10,000 kwacha, pay their interest, come back and ask for 50, pay their interest. Women run economies. So for me to go back to Silicon Valley and tell them, oh, your investment in Africa, I'm taking it to women, they won't get the story in such a misogynist environment that they come from. They don't understand the African woman. But you know, it is my responsibility to educate them on the African woman. There is no woman like the African woman, and that is the story. And that is selling a why beyond profitability. You're asking an investor to take a chance on a story you believe in. And sometimes packaging it, aligning it, and sharing it is part of our responsibility. So you're looking for that funding. You've got to package it, align it,
and share it. Keep your story concise. Have the data. Have the supporting documentation. You made a purchase, you made an investment. Document it. Because when it's time to go and walk through the bank's doors and ask for a facility of $500,000 kwacha, there are people who walk out of that bank with twice as much, and there are people who walk away with zero. The difference was in the story you told. It's not that the banks are not giving money at all. For Muchu and his business partner to get their funding, someone at some point believed in their story. But they got better at telling it. They'll tell you. They were part of the initial problem. They didn't capture the story to the right angle. Now we get it. Everybody trusts them. They'll give them twice as much. They've proven the track record. I'll also say one more thing. I think it was trending yesterday on social media about either interviews or what, that you had to unlock your profile on your socials. How many saw that clip? And there was a lot of kafuafa on the internet. So why are we unlocking our profile to be, oh, I'm sorry. If I'm going to hire you as an exec on my team, I am definitely checking your socials. There is no way I'm using that CV. That is a ChatGPT generated CV. I want to know what you do every day. Do you understand what I mean? I want to know. I want to get to a feel. How are you going to be a fit? The first thing I ask if someone's joining my team, are they even going to be a fit in the team? You understand what I mean? For me, that is more important than even your accolades. Respectfully, Unilas. But I need to know that I'm hiring a human being that is not going to bring toxicity amongst my team. Because all the technical stuff, we've got tools now for that. Now I need human beings on my team that are going to get the team running. So, that in today's modern day leadership is just as equivalent as it is profitability. You need both.
Okay, that officially marks the end of our panel discussion. Could we have a bigger round of applause for our dynamic panel? Okay, thank you to each and every one of you. And once again, thank you to each and every one of you for coming. It's been a pleasure. Please, we may be done over here, but mingle, come take some pictures. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the mixer and the day.